headed north of the border for this episode of Connected with Kelly. Hi, guys. We are talking with one of my favorite people to interview, Brett Kissel. Now, if you're not familiar with Brett, he is a big deal in Canadian country music, and he's had songs here in the U.S. as well. You might remember his song, Drink About Me. The video was pretty hot, had Caitlin Bristow in it from The Bachelor. Okay, now you remember. Well, Brett has a brand new song that he is releasing. It's called Make a Life, Not a Living. And here's what I love. We really dive into what that means. What does it mean to make a life, not a living? And what are some of the non-negotiables that Brett has in his career now after we've lived through this pandemic? It's a great talk, and I'm so excited for you to get connected with Brett Kissel. My buddy Brett Kissel. Look, as we speak at this very moment in time, we are both in a cold situation. I have snow here in Franklin, Tennessee, but you trumped me, man. Tell everybody what's going on where you are.
You know, I feel for everybody in Nashville right now with all the snow. You're right. There's like a big polar vortex that has come through Tennessee, but all my buddies have been texting me photos of the snow in Nashville. Literally yesterday up here in Alberta, Canada, where I am right now, it was minus 42 degrees. Like I'm talking the Arctic, like North Pole cold, legit.
How do you function? How do you even function in negative 42 degrees, Brett?
It's just another Thursday. No big deal. It's just, this happens all the time. I was saying, it's like, my buddies in Nashville, in Brentwood or Hendersonville or wherever they are, texting me photos of the snow saying, look at all this snow. To me, in the Arctic, is literally like an up-and-coming star gets a number one and texts it to George Strait. Look what I did. It's like, children, please. I got 60 of these. It's like I got 60 inches of snow, you know?
Holy cow. Hey, congratulations on this new song that's coming out. This is Make a Life, Not a Living, right? Did I say it right? I didn't screw it up.
Perfect.
So when I heard that title, I'm like, wow, that's one of those titles you hear it and you think, oh yeah, why hasn't somebody written that before? Because we've heard it and we know that sentiment. So give us more insight into this song.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I thought the same thing too, with that being such an important saying culturally that so many of us have thought about for many years, but especially this year in particular. So every line in this song, the lyrics, I believe in wholeheartedly. And I am very, very lucky, again, to kind of reference George Strait, that I've got a really good network of friends who've now kind of become like family to me in the music community that are incredible songwriters. I love to write myself, and I've written a lot of songs I'm proud of. That being said, this one was pitched to me by Stephen Lee Olson. So Stephen Lee Olson, great friend, has had some great recent success, a new dad, young man. He and I are very, very much in a very similar stage of life. And so when he texted me this song, no joke, on my 30th birthday, and he said, happy birthday, buddy. I think I found a great song for you. And I listened to it, or first I said, what's the title? Because all it was, you know, like an MP3, right? With no title. And just what you said, Kelly, about the title. I said, what's the title? He said, Make a Life, comma, Not a Living. And I said, this song sounds too good to be true. And I listened to it, and I did something, Kelly, that you're not allowed to do in the music business. I'm sure you'd know this. I told him when I texted back, I said, I love this song so much. Not only am I going to record it, but this is going to be my first single.
Oh, everybody on your team was like, whoa. Hold up.
So he texted me back. He's like, bro, don't do me like that. Don't make this promise. And I said, no. I said, this is exactly what this new chapter, not just in my musical career, is all about, but this song is going to signal the new era of my life and everything I want to sing about, everything that I believe in, and the man that I am, the dad that I am, the husband that I am, the country entertainer that I am and I want to be. This is what this song represents. So I said, thank you for it. And I said, I give you my word. It's going to be my first single. And here it's coming out in a couple of days. So I'm really proud of it.
Let's talk about what's been going on because, I mean, nobody wants to relive what we went through in the last year. But at the same time, I think perspective is everything. And looking back on what everyone has gone through, it leveled the playing field. It cut through a lot of the pretense that I think a lot of us have dealt with. And people really did get back to what was important. And a lot of that is your family. A lot, everything is family. Everything is what your life is about and not what your career is. So was that a lesson that it hit you in a different way? Or how did that really show itself to you in 2020?
Honestly, Kelly, I feel like I'm still going through the motions to a degree. And I think I will continue to go through the motions to kind of process what has happened, what is happening, and what the future is going to look like. Like the question I've asked myself, which is why I've titled the record this, what is life? It's a giant question mark there. What does this all mean? What really matters? I've come to realize, and I'm going to continue to learn this for the rest of my life, that often, if you want a big picture view, it's to look at the small things. Isn't that an interesting juxtaposition? Isn't it interesting that everything I've been fighting for in terms of a number one plaque on the wall or a glass trophy to hold up in an arena while I wear a suit and tie is actually a lot of the things that don't matter anymore? Are my kids healthy? Is my wife happy? Are we okay? Spending time with my family, going out to the farm to be one with nature. I wanted so badly to get off my farm and move to Nashville and literally, I was that teenager, put up my middle fingers as I drove out in my pickup truck. See ya never. That was me. I was that teenager who did it. And now I can't wait to spend more time chasing cows, planting a garden, and living a country way of life.
Right.
So that is one of the big, big cultural changes and like a seismic shift that has happened in my life. And I think the lives of so many of my friends in the music business. Yet finding identity, my own identity, my true identity through this whole thing, because a lot of my self-worth came from being on the stage, getting adulation and adoration from the fans, and also knowing that I had a purpose that Friday night at CMA Fest, or that Friday night at Boots and Hearts, or the National Finals Rodeo, to stand on the stage and deliver a show to make people forget about their problems and drink a couple beers and have the best Friday they've had in a long time. Well, now I don't get to do that. So what's my real value in this thing? What am I really here to do? I'm kind of still trying to figure that out, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I think all of us are, I think it really it shakes you, kind of puts you in a blender and stirs you around and spits you out. You said something, and I want to ask you this because I've heard this from several people and I want your take on it. When you're young and you have these ideas and you have these goals and you have a dream board and, you've got Juno Awards and number ones and all of these things that you want to accomplish, you think that it's going to make you feel a certain way when you get to that point. And now that you've been to that point and you've had 3 number one hits and you've won a Juno Award, did it make you feel the way you thought it was going to make you feel?
It's that's a great question. It's a deep question. And I'll say quickly, in a lot of ways, yes, it made me feel great because it is something that I wanted to accomplish. And I look up to a lot of great athletes in sports who treat the championship as something to work towards. So for me, I also knew the power of a number one song. It was less about the plaque and more about reaching X amount of thousands of people, which would drive more ticket sales, which would drive more opportunity to play, which would drive more opportunity to travel, more opportunity to take my music, use it for good, and do something with that creative energy. However, the physical glass trophy that I really wanted on my mantle it was never about the glass trophy. And often a lot of artists, me included, I'm guilty of it, made it about the trophy. It's actually about the journey to get there, which is why I still feel it's healthy for people to have their whiteboard in their office or their chalkboard in their kitchen, or that fridge magnet that says, about chasing your dreams, whatever that may be. Do it, because goal setting is healthy and dreaming is important. However, understand that the journey is actually what it's all about. And granted, I still gotta do that. I'm only 30. I wonder what Johnny Cash would tell me. I wonder what Glenn Campbell would do if I had an opportunity to have a cup of coffee with him, if he put his arm around me and said, son, you're only 30. What you think you know now, just wait until you're 70. So I'm still testing the waters with this, but I'm also realizing quicker, because we're at a very accelerated pace right now in the world energy, as far as I'm concerned, to understand that it's more about the ride. And I'm going to quote Miley Cyrus on this. It's the climb. It's the climb, Kelly.
When I thought that this chat couldn't get any better, I get a quote from Miley Cyrus. Oh, it's so good. In looking at the things that you have accomplished, so how do you set the next set of goals? What is the top of the mountain for you? And are there some non-negotiables that you have now that you didn't have in 2019 before we went through what we've gone through? Are there now some lines in the sand that you're like, nope?
I've not been asked that question so directly, and I so appreciate it. So thank you for this. It's time. Time now is the most valuable commodity, because we had so much of it, and a lot of us, me included, especially me, squandered that time. Because you always think you got tomorrow. When the world changes and everything is shut down, you realize that more than a dollar bill, more than even a diamond from whatever part of the world, whatever that's worth, it's not as valuable as time is. So the non-negotiable for me is to understand that my career and country music won't dictate how I spend my time. My wife and my kids are going to dictate how I spend my time, and what's left over, which again, healthy balance, because I still love country music with all my heart, but the healthy balance of understanding what actually needs to be the priority. And I have to be honest, I'm very grateful that my wife stayed with me. My kids loved me through it. The dad that was gone 250 days a year. Well, now I'm going to really prioritize my time on the road. I'm going to prioritize my time in interviews and conversations like this. Be a lot more present, not think about what the next Zoom call is going to be. Focus on where I am right now, spending time with you. Time is the most valuable commodity. So that is my line in the sand now.
Was there something that when did you come to that determination, or how did you come to that determination? Because I feel exactly the same way. And I feel like I've been reading so many different books. I mean, we have more time now, right? So I've been reading a lot of books, and I think that I came to that conclusion in hearing it, from several people and listening to podcasts, but then also reading it in print. It's something that we've always known, but I think it's different when you actually see that in print coming back at you. You're like, yeah, that's the truth.
Well, what I have to do is still figure out, when is a good time to put the pedal to the metal and serve my own entrepreneurial spirit, which is in whether it's side businesses or touring or country music or all of this creative energy, but also understand when that isn't serving me and family life truly is. When did I figure that out? At the beginning of the pandemic, to a degree, understanding that whether it's a 2-week, let's flatten the curve, or a 1 year, this is where we're at, and is there light at the end of the tunnel? Do we really know? To a degree, I feel there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel, but I just don't know how long that tunnel is. I still think that it's a journey that I'm going to be on for the foreseeable future, because I haven't really figured it out yet. I've just realized I'm in a stage right now of realization. I don't know if I'm in a stage of implementation, because the world isn't open up yet, and I'm not faced with the choice of go on this 9-month tour or see if I can actually reconfigure that. I don't know. I'm not really faced with the implementation of it. I'm just faced with the realization right now.
You have a very unique grasp of the business side of your industry. There are not very many people that are creative that can also grasp the business side. That is, you're a both brain thinker, left and right. And there are a few people that are like that are really, really great at that. Has that always been the case for you, Brett? Or is that something the further you got along in your career, you realized I need to understand all of the aspects of it?
Great question. I feel like I always still need to learn, and I'll never stop learning until, I'm 6 feet under. That being said, I didn't realize, looking back now, I didn't realize as a kid or as a teenager in my early 20s, I was really working very hard on the business side while also being creative. But I realize now that I was very lucky I was able to do that and learn those lessons. So I looked up to guys like Garth Brooks, of course, number one, Dolly Parton, tied for number one, Brad Paisley, also tied for number one, as three great heroes who were incredible artists. But as you dive deep into their structure, their business helped drive the creative, and the creative helped drive the business. So it was a circle. And I always read and was fascinated by the biographies of the artists that went broke, or the artists that signed such bad contracts that they make this great art and they don't have any money for it. So it wasn't that I was driven by money and sales. I was just thinking about things from an outside perspective. I could get booked to play the club or to play at this community hall for the rodeo dance, for example, at $1,000. And I knew that I had to pay 4 musicians $250. Okay. Well, I know that I'm going to net $0. And I still got to drive there. I still got to pay for hotels. So I would think about outside sponsorship. Well, there's a Holiday Inn in that town. Maybe I could do something or invite them to the show and they could give me my rooms for free. So I would place that call as a 15-year-old. I didn't know that was unique. I just thought, well, maybe I can get it for free. I'd phone, Bob's Ford or Jim's Chevrolet, and I would say, hey, I'm 16 years old. I've got my license. Maybe you put your logo on the side, and maybe I could get a truck for the summer. I saw that you do it for the rodeo cowboys. I'm playing all the rodeo dances, and I'm doing all these interviews. Maybe you'll give me a truck for free. And sure enough, they did. Now, granted, it wasn't that simple. I had to write a proposal and learn how to do that, but I did that at 16. And then at 18, I'm realizing as I'm playing the clubs, they're paying me $1,000 to play the club, which is really cool. I appreciate it. It's $1,000, but I'm still paying 4 musicians $250 and I'm making no money. Well, if I rent the club for $2,000 and sell 1,000 tickets for $10, just for $10 a ticket, I'm actually making $10,000, still paying my band $1,000, still paying the club $2,000, and now I've got $7,000 net profit. I don't know why I learned that or why I knew that. Just my brain went to like, why is the club owner making all the money when I could do it? And then I have a conversation with Garth Brooks when I'm 26 years old, and he says, well, that's what I do in the arenas. So I feel very lucky that somehow I just had that little bone in my body, or that little inclining in my brain saying, ask for more. Maybe it's a capitalist mindset or an entrepreneurial mindset, but so I think about that all the time.
But see, that's the thing that I don't think a lot of up and coming artists understand. I mean, there's the romantic side of I got discovered and I got a record deal and I got signed. And, I think all of us want to be taken care of in some way. And to think that you could just go in and write your songs and do your music. And that is, that is part of the dream. I think that's part of the dream that is sold to a lot of kids. But And they're ready to work hard for it. I just don't know that they understand the nuts and bolts of it, and that sometimes there is a better way. And then there are people like you who are showing them you can do it a different way and you can call your own shots. And now that you're in the driver's seat, what do you want to happen going forward? Because I feel like the conversation is different when you have leverage, and you have lots of leverage, friend. So what do you want the conversation to be like when you move into the next chapter?
I think there's an opportunity to really help those around you and to use a platform that I've been very blessed to have been able to create and have had so much help, building this platform or a following on social media, or an artist who can sing a song that says something. So now that I've been given that gift, I think it's important not to squander it. Like we talked about squandering away time. Now I feel that I could look back, years from now and say that I wasted an opportunity while I had some sort of stage to stand on or soapbox to stand on, and not use it as a driving force for good or light. Thomas Rhett is a guy that I look up to, who does a lot of philanthropic things behind the scenes that a lot of people may not understand. The entrepreneurial things and the lifestyle brand that he's creating with his wife is something I'm very inspired by. So is my wife, Cecilia. And so I look up to him and how he could have, at the beginning of the pandemic, release another great country song about a great relationship with a girl, and I just want to spend some time with you, and whatever the creative lyrics would have been, and it would have gone number one, but he took that as an opportunity, said, I'm going to write a song, I'm going to bring along my friends and these collaborators, and we are going to sing a song for change. Now, of course, it was inspired by a very dark time in our world history, but he took his opportunity and the platform and rallied his team around making that a hit song too. So I really look up to that. And I want to make sure that I use my platform, however small or however big it may be, to do good now for the industry, for my friends around me, for up and comers, or just the world at large. Maybe that's exactly what I was meant to do in this world. Maybe that is my identity. I don't know. Still figuring it out, but that's what I want to do.
You're always so much fun to talk to. Brett Kissel, everybody. The name of the song, Make a Life, Not a Living. Also, Brett failed to mention, but I happen to know he has a vodka company. I'm going to be looking for that. It's called Deuce Vodka. Hopefully we can get some of that very soon down here in Nashville. Listen, we would love to hear who you would like to see on our next episode of Connected with Kelly. Put that in the comments down there. While you're down there, make sure you subscribe and you hit the bell. That way you'll be notified when new episodes come out. Make sure that you are staying connected with all the people and things you love the most. Bye.